Welcome to another episode of Tapped In with Tony. I am your host, Tony Bogan. Tonight, we are going to keep the sibling train rolling as we're going to be interviewing another set of siblings, Ryan and Zach Kahn. Zach is a former football player at the University of Miami and a Strongsville graduate. Ryan is a former Strongsville graduate himself, and he is currently a football player at Miami. Welcome to the program.
Yes, sir.
How's it
Thank you
going,
for
Tony?
having us.
Yeah, thank
No
you. We appreciate it. When
And
uh, when you when you reached out and told us you had the opportunity to have us both on at the same time, I sent it over to Ryan and we were both pretty excited about it. So thank you for having us.
Of course, and it's a good thing we're not doing this in outdoors because it's storming outside where I'm at.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not here. It's just super hot out here. It's probably going to tonight, but
Gotcha.
it's coming.
Oh yeah, and it will be good because I don't think it's not necessarily up here in Northeast Ohio because it rained a few days prior and the day before that.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So first things first, Zach, tell me about your football career at Strongsville High School.
Oh man. Yeah. So I graduated 2016. So I started playing for Coach Jakes that would have been, I think, the 2013 season. I was a sophomore and was able to start on varsity, which was awesome. Started at safety and played running back too as needed. So that was kind of my sophomore year. We had a pretty good year. I think we were 6-4 or 5-5. So that ended up being Coach Jakes' last year. And then we brought in Coach Laird, and Coach Laird was awesome. So started again my junior year and at safety. And I think that year, Bobby Cole, who was our quarterback, tore his ACL like early in the season. So got to play a little bit of Wildcat quarterback, which was fun. I think I threw a touchdown against Berea Mid Park. So that's in the stat book, but that was awesome. So we had a really good junior year too. I think 6-4, 5-5 again. Then senior year, mainly played on offense that year. Finally got to be the feature back for us and had an awesome year. I think that year we ended up 5-5 again. You know, we always in the GCC had a tough time with Manor, Solon, Medina always had good teams, Euclid. So, you know, it was awesome. You know, those 3 years being able to play with some of my best friends that I grew up playing with. You know, that was always awesome and holds a special place in my heart. So, you know, that was awesome.
And talk to us about the play. I had to ask you about the play. I did stats at Shaker Heights for until 2017.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really close game. Shaker only had 2 points. It was either 7-2 or 13-2.
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell us about that play on offense where it looked like Shaker had a big play and then all of a sudden the momentum just swang.
Yeah, I think I remember playing Shaker for the first time because they got added to GCC, so they had a good squad. And yeah, like you said, it was a close game. If I can remember correctly, I think I ended up with about 150 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I think we had a few good big plays on defense, which really sparked us. You know, we had a good linebacker, Alex Zacharias, Brandon Clark at the end. And then I think we were kind of just able to get the run game going and kind of break it open a little bit and get a good win in conference, which was massive. And I think that was one of our first conference games. So, that was big for us.
Gotcha. And I think it was like an option play where one of the Shaker players hit him, and I think you ended up with the ball.
Yeah.
Our side celebrating, thinking, oh my God, we got to stop. And then 20, 30 yards down the field,
right.
on and Strongsville eventually ended up winning the game.
Yeah, that was good times.
Ryan, now talk about your experiences with the Strongsville football program.
So when I was in high school, my coach was Lucerino, so his first year was my freshman year. So obviously it was kind of cool coming in to have a coach that didn't coach my brother. So I wasn't known as the little Zach Kahn. So it was nice to build my own reputation under him. my sophomore year, it was the first time we made the playoffs in 10 years, so that was pretty awesome. But we ended up getting smacked by Menor in the first round, but that's usually a common theme for Strongsville. It's pretty tough to beat Menor, but I didn't play really at all that year, so it was kind of hard. And then junior year came, and we got a new defensive coordinator, Coach Toth. I forget his first name, but he was awesome coach. Coached at the college level at OU, and I was blessed that he was a defensive back coach. And right away, me and him just hit it off. Me and him kind of had a special connection. Like I was always his guy, he was always my guy. We butted heads sometimes for sure, but it was awesome having him as a mentor, as a coach. So going into junior year, like my skills, I felt jumped to a huge another level under Coach Toth. So it was awesome to have him. We ended up going, I think, 6-4. Our tailback Garrett Clark, legend. I had an awesome year. Pretty much carried our whole entire offense. Shout out to him. But I remember us having a solid defense. Blake Miller was playing both ways. Andrew Keating, who was at Navy. Couple of dudes at John Carroll, Jack Stevenson, Garrett Manny. So we had some dogs out there on the defense. So it was awesome to be on the defensive side. I wish I probably could have got the ball a little bit on offense, but we weren't too big at going both ways. But that's how that junior year went. And then, going into senior year, same coaching staff under, Coach Sereno and Coach Toth. And, I'm thinking like this is my year. Like I'm gonna have a huge year, because I was pretty happy with how I played my junior year. And then going into senior year, I'm like, this is gonna be a huge year for me. Like get me ready for college. And then, COVID happened, which just ruined it all. But so that was really hard. It really tested my strength and a lot of strength of other guys. And I remember there was one point that I was physically like, I'm done playing football. Like I'll never play football the rest of my life. So I ended up, I think we got 5 games in, maybe went 3-2 or something like that. But senior year, it was hard to say how it was because it was so short. But from the time that I played, I definitely, it was a blessing to be under the coaches that I was with the guys that I was with, and looking at it now, it all worked out for me. I'm still playing ball to this day, so I'm blessed for that. But yeah, I think about that senior season a lot. Wish that I could really go back and play as many games as I was supposed to, and really show out in those games in high school. Because when you're at the level that I'm at now, it's like, wow, you sometimes miss high school football a lot.
Oh,
So
gotcha. And Ryan, I know you said that COVID had a huge impact on you, especially
oh,
with tell me more about how that was it injuries or was it the teams had to suspend play
it
for weeks?
our first game of the season actually got canceled. And it was just, and there was a point in like June or July where like they officially came out and said like the season's canceled. And I remember I was like, I'm done with football. Like I'm not getting to play my senior year. And then obviously they worked through it. They took precautions, and it was an awful time going to practice, mask, getting your temperature every single day. And then someone like on our team got COVID, and it ended up spreading, so our first game got canceled. And that was just like, it felt like I got stabbed in the heart. It was heartbreaking, but God willing, I got to play at least 5 games. But yeah, it was a hard time. And even like in the lifting, like we couldn't even lift as a team, which is like such a huge part of Strongsville's program now. And when I was there, it's like they really harp on having a great strength and conditioning program. So it was like we couldn't even do that. So it's like you're just trusting that these guys on your team are putting in the work. And so I don't know. It was definitely a tough time, but it all worked out in the end. So can be
God.
thankful for that.
And Zach, I know we're gonna get into your college career in a minute, but talk to me about how COVID impacted you, especially your senior season.
Yeah, similar story to Ryan. You kind of got that was my redshirt senior year, so put a big damper on that. But uh, kind of parallel to what happened to Rye guy in high school, the MAC came out. They were one of the first conferences to cancel the season. I think that was in like May or June. It was like us and the Big Ten had called it pretty early, so obviously pretty big bummer. We were talking about like maybe playing in the spring or, if that didn't happen, I was similar situation, probably would not have taken my 6 year, but end up putting the season back on over the middle of summer. We had our 5 conference games and then 1 out of conference. So, getting ready for the season, I think we started in beginning of November, and, I was pretty amped up for that year because, I was finally going to get a lot of reps at running back. My role had been primarily on special teams for like the previous 2 years. JB, who was our leading rusher, had torn his Achilles in the off season. So he was going to miss the full year. Then we start camp. And, one of the first few practices, Tyree, who was like our second leading rusher the year before, popped his Achilles. So, going in, we're a week in the camp, probably a few weeks out from our game. And, I was gonna, be one of our backs going in. So open up against Ball State on a MACtion game. I think it was, Wednesday night, and, get more carries than I've had in my entire career. Had 2 touchdowns, and, I scored the last touchdown. My old roommate McWoyd gets a pick with like 30 seconds left, takes it down to the 2. Thankfully, for my sake, gets caught because he's slow. But then we were on like 2 plays from the goal line, and I ended up scoring with like 5 seconds left. So, start the season on a pretty damn high note. And then we go to Buffalo. I had a really good team that year. We ended up losing, but still in the hunt for only 2 games in, 1-1. Then we go OU, which is supposed to be on ESPN Monday night, and that game gets canceled on like Sunday. Then Kent State gets canceled. Then we play at Akron, beat them, so we're 2-1, and then supposed to finish off the year, I think, with BG, and that gets canceled too. So we ended up only playing 3 games, and that was really the season that I would have had, been able to be one of our featured backs. But it's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, definitely affected by COVID too. But like Rai guy said, we were blessed to even play 3 games in that situation. I know, some people didn't even get to play any in that situation. So the fact that we were able to get that in, and I was able to play a little bit, a few games during my redshirt senior year. Rai was able to play a little bit during his senior year of high school. So, not the most ideal situation in the world, but, it is what it is.
Gotcha. And I know that that whole MAC season was the MAC ended up starting when everyone else, when the Pac-12 decided we're going to start. Big Ten decided they were going to start, and I know the tie-ins got affected because I believe 2 teams made, Buffalo and Ball State. I think Kent would have made it if they didn't shut their season down because Kent was having a good year. You guys would have made to a bowl too.
Yeah, and I mean, Ball State did end up winning it that year, and it was kind of just some salt in the wound since we beat them on the very first game, and they ended up winning the MAC. But it's just the way the chips fall sometimes.
Speaking of college, I know both of you guys ended up going to the same school, but how did you navigate the college recruiting journey?
You want to go?
So it, like I said, it was all screwed up definitely because of COVID. But, before that, it was just like going to camps, locally, Akron, Kent, all those types of schools, like just going to their camps, just trying to get exposed. And then, like, as you started going on, like, coaches were starting to reach out. My high school coach, Sereno, he was putting me on to coaches, just a lot of MAC coaches, like, Butler I was talking to a lot, other schools like that. And then, like, obviously it really slowed down once like COVID hit because you couldn't really you couldn't have official visits, you couldn't go on visits, so it was like it was kind of this dead period for me, and I was like, okay, this is it's getting really hard. So I reached out to the coaches at Miami. Zach helped me reach out to them, and right away they were like, yeah, we could have a spot for you as a walk on, and I was like, yeah, like if I'm gonna do it in college, like it's gonna be there because I wanted to go there as anyway, and it was like if I could still play football, like God bless, like I'm gonna keep playing until like I can't anymore. So I did it and haven't looked back, and I don't regret it for any minute. I love what I do. I love playing football still. So, and I'm very glad that it worked out in the end.
Awesome. Zach, talk about your experiences on the recruiting journey.
Yeah, similar situation. Started going. Obviously, had pretty good film, and things really picked up. Summer going into my senior year, did the whole camp circuit. Talked to max schools. I had a handful of FCS offers: Dayton, Davidson, Marist, and then a few Ivy League offers like Cornell, Penn, Columbia. But none of those schools, just the conferences that they were in, didn't give athletic scholarships. So, knew I always liked Miami as a school, and considered going there and just giving up football. So it kind of ended up coming down to Cornell, Dayton, and ended up getting a preferred walk-on from Miami. Coach Ski's not at Miami anymore. He was kind of the one who Coach Jakes knew. And then, forever grateful to Coach Martin for giving me the chance. Coach Izzy was a running backs coach at the time. He's the QB coach at the Cardinals right now, but I ended up getting a preferred walk on there and kind of just, bet on myself. I was like, I feel like I can play at the Division I or FBS level. I knew it might take some time and it wasn't going to be easy at all going in as a walk on, but, decided that was going to be the best place for me. And I knew that, if football didn't end up working out, I was still would have liked being at Miami. If I went to Cornell or Dayton and didn't like football, probably would have ended up transferring out anyway to go to Miami. So it's kind of similar to Ryan. It was just perfect storm and couldn't really pass up the opportunity because that's, I think, what both of us wanted to do from the start. So
Awesome. And I know Miami is a really great school academics wise. Even when I was at Shaker, a lot of people I knew went to Miami. I was just one of the ones who I went to a MAC school, but it was Kent State.
Gotcha.
So, if each of you can share what it's like, what is the life of a Division I football athlete? If you guys can break it down, what do you guys have to go through as far as practice, film, etc.?
You want me? You got it, or you want me to go?
You can go. You're about to start at camp in a week, but I can follow up. And you're smarter and in harder classes. So
going. Let's just say that starting off in about a week is you can kiss my life away for about 3 weeks. I got about no free time, but basically it's gonna be, starting at 8 or even earlier than that, from 6 to 7:30 we got breakfast, and then from 8 to 9 it's team meeting, 9 to 10 then it's like your unit position meeting, and then from whatever 10 to 12 we got full on practice out on the field. Then you got lunch at 1, treatment. You got to go to treatment if you're hurt. That's in there too. Come back at 3:30 for another special teams meeting. Come back and then after that, it's another position meeting. So now you're at what? It's probably about 5 o'clock. And then you got dinner from 5 to 6, and then you got a walkthrough at the end of the night from like 7 to 8:30, and that's every single day for about 21 days, 23 days. So that's coming up for fall camp. But as we move into the season, it gets into so I'm an engineering major, so I got classes from so usually I have an 8 o'clock class every day. So I'm pretty much in class from 8 to 1, 8 to 12:30 every single day, Monday through Friday. And then every day, Monday through Friday, we got practice 1 to 5. And, that entails, meetings from like 1 to 3 ish. And then you actually on the field from 3 to 5:30. So there's where you're busy from 8 to 5:30 already every single day. And then you got to come home and you got to do and you got to do your homework. And then if you really are trying to get on the field, then you got to go back and watch film. So now it's 10 o'clock and you're like, wow, I haven't even had the time to catch my breath at all, and that's every day for 12 weeks during the season. And then finally, with winter, it breaks up a lot, gets better during the winter, just lifting when it's just lifting, we'll go to class and then whatever, come in, lift for 2 hours, which is part I love to do. But yeah, it's a grind, man. It's not easy at all, but you got to get through it. Everybody's doing it. That's the thing. Like all my best friends are on the team, and it's like, yeah, man, this sucks. This is a lot, but it's like we're all in it together, so it makes it a lot easier. But I love being busy, keeps my mind off of things. But yeah, it's definitely a grind.
Absolutely. And especially when you guys are traveling as often as you do.
Oh
But at least after Cincinnati, after week 3, it gets easier. But I know
yeah,
sometimes they'll have you guys going to
yeah. We
California for a
usually
conference game.
Yeah, we open up at Miami, Florida this year, so that's the first one. So that's not very close at all.
But that would be a great experience.
Oh
And
yeah, that'll be awesome.
Zach, talk about your experiences there, especially with non-conference rival, like outside of Ohio and Cincinnati. Who would you say? And you can chime in as well, Ryan. The toughest teams that you guys either are looking forward to, or the toughest teams that your big rivals.
Yeah. I mean, from my experience, we always had pretty good games with NIU and Western Michigan. Um, they're not in our division within the MAC, but they always seem to end up on our schedule. And historically, too, pretty strong program. So, I mean, I would say outside of, Cincy and OU, always get up for those games, but it always seemed like, there was a little extra juice when we were playing NIU in Western Michigan. Uh, just talking about echoing the schedule, Ryan hit it pretty spot on. Only thing I would add is, there's a midday or midweek lift in there, usually at
Yeah,
6
six
a.m.
a.m.
So that's another thing. But, another challenging part is, with the nationwide famous Maction during
during
November,
the week.
those get tough. That's the last 4 games of your season are during the week. So, we're making the trip to OU have walked through Monday all day, for example, miss class that day. You travel day. So you're going to OU, get there Monday night, dinner, walk through, sleep. Tuesday, the game's not until, 7:30 or 8. So obviously no class that day, kind of just hanging out, not really focusing on school. And then play, that game 7:38 that finishes around 11. By the time everyone showers, post game interview for Coach Martin, get on the bus around 12, 3-hour drive back to Oxford, get to Oxford at 3, sleep. Maybe you have an 8:30 that is a little loose on attendance, so sleep in a little bit, depending on the class. I had some where I was able to sleep through it after the game, but some you had to get up and go. And, just depending on your classes, in class Wednesday or, missing class Wednesday. And then you're in treatment at 12 and, that kind of becomes your Sunday. You just adjust. We have the same schedule every week, no matter what day you're playing on, you just kind of adjust it based on when the game is. So, but yeah, that's another challenge of playing MAC football is, you're going to be moving all over the place in November if you got a good team, because they typically, based on preseason, who they think that is going to be good, you'll have more action games just because those are nationally televised, which is pretty cool. it's not always fun going to Muncie, Indiana on Tuesday night, but playing on, CBS Sports or ESPNU, ESPN2 for big games is pretty cool. And definitely, I think one of the recruiting advantages for the MAC.
Absolutely. Especially you guys get that week to yourselves in November to just show out and
Right.
reach it on Sports Center. And if it's like a really, really good game, then that's all more there for recruiting, because
Right.
the kids getting looks from some bigger schools, and he sees,
Right.
oh man, Miami's doing some things, OU's doing some things,
Yep.
so on. They're like, let me take a look here.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
And when you guys were not busy doing football in Miami, what did you like to do for fun besides class?
I would say majority is just spent with like your roommates. I lived in a house with 4 people 3 years, so it's just kind of hanging out with them. Frisbee golf is a big summer activity. They got a course on like Western Campus. Golf is big. Go up to the rec and play hoops if it's in the off season. But yeah, I mean, pretty much just hanging out with the guys, honestly, is probably the best time spent. Just because you all pretty much have the same experiences together, and you're all working through the week to get to Friday. So, when you're in the off season, you finish up like that last Friday left, everyone's just, ready to go hang out. We'll go grab dinner at Skipper's or something uptown and, just hang out for the night. So, it's a lot of it is activity because, you put a bunch of athletes who live together and you find things to do. Like, we were obsessed with Can Jam like my senior year. So we were ripping Can Jam out after class. But yeah, no, it's pretty much just doing everything with the guys that you play with. Can't get enough of them.
Literally.
Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, he hit it spot on. That's pretty much all it is, man. It's just hanging out with the boys.
Nice. And Miami's had a very successful football program the past few years. You guys, initially before you came, Miami was 0-12 or 2-10 one year.
Yep.
And then they had a complete turnaround. And I believe they went, if my memory serves me right, they started off the year 0-6.
Yeah, that was my freshman year.
Whole game.
That was my freshman year, yep.
How was that turnaround? How was it like to experience that turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was pretty crazy. There was a lot of cleaning the house. I feel like for the first few years of Coach Martin's tenure, but he did a great job of getting guys that really bought into what he preaches and coaches. And I mean, that's just a testament to the seniors and upperclassmen and all the OGs that were there my freshman year, starting off 0-6. Like the fact that we were able to kind of rattle off 6 wins in a row was insane. So, that, like I mentioned, that was my freshman year, true freshman year. When we had Gus Ragland, who's now the QB coach there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Gus is like the ultimate gamer. And so he came off injury. He had torn his ACL and then came back, and he kind of spearheaded the 6-game winning streak that we went on. But then my redshirt freshman year, I think we went 5-7, missed the bowl game. Redshirt sophomore year, I think we were 5-7, 6-6. And then my redshirt junior year is 2019 when we ended up winning the MAC, and that was awesome. That was like my class. We were the seniors on that team. We had some 5th years that just kind of seen the progression of the program and everything that Coach Martin had helped build. So, being able to get that for us and for Coach Martin was a really cool experience. And, we still talk about that to this day, that we were able to do that because, like you said, when you look at, 2014, 2013, going 0-12, 1-11, it's not very good football. And now I think like we have the best win percentage since like 2015 or whatever it was when we started to turn it around. So just kind of seeing the progression in Miami back to where it should be as a football program, because, early 2000s with Big Ben, they're one of the top teams in the nation. So, there's a high expectation there. And the fact that we were able to kind of get that back on track, and, the seniors and upperclassmen that showed us the way when we were freshmen, them and Coach Martin are really the one, and the coaches are really the ones who get the credit for turning the program around.
That's amazing.
We just help continue it.
And Ryan, you guys, and both of you went to a few bowl games yourself. I know, Zach, you guys played at Tampa Stadium for one of your bowl games. You played at Frisco, where Dallas FC plays. Ryan,
Yeah, that was awesome. Got the Bahamas this year.
Yeah. Talk about the Bahamas trip.
It was awesome. It's pretty much everything that you could expected. It's how it was, dude. It was the first few days was awesome because like our coaches were kind of just like, you guys can just do whatever. Like, we're giving you the like first 2 days to enjoy the atmosphere and just being in the Bahamas. Yeah, I mean, it's everything you can imagine. It was awesome. You're on a beach at all times. We stayed at Atlantis. So it's like this awesome resort that everybody always wishes to go to. Like, we're just staying there. And then like it was awesome, pretty cool, like going to our practice fields. Like, it was pretty much in the middle of the Bahamas, like, so it was awesome going to see like native Bahamas. So, and then actually like for the game, like we got a decent amount of people, like local crowd to come. So that was an awesome experience. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever get to go to a bowl that's any better than that. But so I had to just kind of take it all in. We all were just like, we got to just enjoy this now because we'll probably never get something like this again. But yeah, it was awesome. One of the best experiences in my life for sure.
That's amazing. And especially when I know you mentioned Bahamas, they've also got that basketball tournament, Balfour Atlantis, having a basketball court in the middle of a ballroom.
Yeah, that's I don't know, man. That place is like Disneyland. They pull it all off.
That's amazing. And Ryan, you're going into your sophomore year or junior
My
year?
junior year.
What are you looking forward to the most going into the season? And what are your plans for the future down the line? Are you planning on getting a graduate? Well, are you planning on getting a job outside of football, staying in connection with it, or possibly playing pro, maybe?
Yeah, no, that's probably not in my future at all. But really just my goals right now is just trying to get on the field as soon as I can. And then talking about after football, I like I said, I'm an engineering major. I'm hoping definitely to get a pretty decent job in that field. Uh, I think I've had my fair share of football. Once I'll be done with this college experience, I think that'll be enough for me. So, but yeah, I don't know. I never really have had any thoughts about coaching or anything. I'm sure once I have children, I'll probably get into it. Or Zach's
Till I get
kids,
some
maybe.
ankle biters, and then
Yeah,
Uncle Ryan's got to come coach the DBs or defense.
right. Let them know how to hit someone. That'll be my job. But yeah, no, it'll be good to get away from the game for a little bit. I think for a couple years, and then hopefully, like I said, get into coaching once I got some kids and Zach's got some kids.
That's amazing. I like the game plan you have, and you're going to Miami, great school.
Oh yeah,
connections with graduation.
Oh yeah,
and so on and so forth.
Yeah, even like Coach Martin has unlimited connections that can help me get out there. So pretty excited.
And Zach, you were a business major, if memory serves me right. How's life after football been for you?
Yep, I was business. I was double majored in undergrad in accounting and marketing. And then, thankfully, once I got put on scholarship, I was able to stay for my 5th year. So did my master's in accounting, came out of school, worked in audit for PwC in Cleveland, was with them for about 18 months. And then May of this year, switched over to Kahn and Company, which is another accounting firm, and currently doing financial due diligence on M&A deals. So a lot more interesting. Audit was a little bit dry for me. But, I was starting to break into the more finance and M&A world is treating me well. But, as Ryan was kind of saying, it's good to get away from not away from it. I still, follow the Red Hawks and had my dad has season tickets to the Browns. So still involved in football, but getting away from the grind of it, I think is good for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, hopefully have a few crumb snatchers down the line and we'll definitely be involved with coaching them because I do miss it. It's usually around this time of year when you're gearing up to go to camp and kind of lock in and just, run around, hit people, fly around the field. So I do miss that. I don't think would have missed that by like day 4 when Ryan's waking up at 6 to go to camp. His body hurts, but from the outside now, being away from it I think this is the 3rd season, I can say, I definitely miss playing football. I don't really miss the grind of it in the toll that takes on your body. But I'll definitely I would love to coach, but just with the time commitment with my current job, it's not really possible. But once I have kids, definitely looking forward to coaching them and being a high-powered offense, run 5 wide and let the quarterback go.
Gotcha. That's great, man. Like you say, you miss football, but you don't miss the grind. Like that's really great to have that mindset of just being able to relax after your days are over and do interviews like this.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to poll probably all the people who played with me, they would say they missed the game. They miss the games and being around everyone, but they do not miss the day in and day out grind and the toll it takes on your body. But, I think everyone misses being around the guys and being in the locker room and hanging out and, just being able to go to work every day with your best friends is pretty cool.
Gotcha. And a couple more questions before we wrap up. What is each of you guys' go-to song when it comes to football?
Man, I gotta think here. I got a couple, man. Untouchable by Young Boy. Run It Up by Young Boy. A lot of Young Boy. I like to listen to Young Boy a lot. Lil Baby for sure. Southside by Lil Baby. Pretty much anything Lil Baby gets me going for football.
And Zach, what about you?
Oh man, I think I always listen to For the Gang by Future. That was one of my bus songs. Definitely Young Boy. War With Us was always a good bus song.
Yeah.
But I had a nice a bus playlist, and like Ryan said, I don't think anything Lil Baby Untouchable was always a last minute song. But Young Boy, Lil Baby, Future, all
Lil
good.
Wayne.
Lil Wayne was
Staple.
one of my go-tos because I was listening to him when I was like 5th grade, getting ready to go
Right.
out there and like bash someone's head. So he stuck with me the whole football career. He's a goat.
Nice. I used to actually not like the Carter 3, but I've come to like it now. I've come to
Great
like
album.
Yeah, now I have
Classic.
to check NBA Young Boy when I get a chance.
He's a little it's good pregame music.
Good game
a little
day.
Intense for good game day music. A little intense for like everyday living, but when you deal with juice on Tuesday night, it's pretty good. Before you got to go out and play OU.
And I want to thank both of you guys for coming on Tapped In with Tony. Before we wrap up, do either of you have anything you want to share or any kind of message? Floor is yours.
Zach?
Me? No, nothing major. Want to thank you for giving, Ryan and I the opportunity to come on here and talk. It's one of the first times that we've been able to kind of just be on an interview together and hang out, talk to someone. So thank you for that. I guess one question for you. I see the Detroit Lions. One of my boys is a Lions fan. Actually, two of my boys are Lions fans. Shout out to the Lions. And what's the prediction for them this year? Are we feeling good in Dan Campbell?
I say maybe 10-7 or 11-6 in the North Championship. But the thing is,
Okay.
I'm actually a Saints fan.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm actually New Orleans Saints fan, but I have family from Detroit.
Gotcha.
One
I think
of
the Lions might be better than the Saints this year.
one of my good buddies on this team, Michael Dowell, his brother plays for the Saints,
Yeah.
Andrew Dowell.
Oh,
So he's a big Saints fan.
Yeah.
From
nice.
St. Ed's too.
Small world. Once
Right,
again,
man.
guys, thank you for coming on the show. Tapped In with Tony's available on Spotify and wherever podcasts are streamed. So thanks again for coming on the show, and thanks everyone for listening.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Tony. Have a great night, man.
You
Always
too.
good to catch up.